What's going on, everybody? We are back with episode 3 of the Talking Hoop series. Cameron Moore, alongside the one and only Dove Khan, reporting live from SJ. And on this episode, we're going to be talking about how to get an offer. More specifically, little tips and tricks to sort of navigate through the recruiting process that is ever so changing, as we know, with the current landscape, NIL, transfer portal, all that nonsense. Let's jump right into it here.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about um, just some points that we would give guys tuning in on how to make recruiting easier for themselves and increase their chances of getting a scholarship.
Vast majority of guys, especially if you're not at a big program, you're going to be reaching out to coaches, right? Coaches aren't going to be necessarily flooding your
Yeah,
games if you're not at a big program, if you're not playing for a name brand AAU squad, right? Then you're probably going to have to reach out. So the way you do that, and we've talked about this in a few reels, a few posts, but emailing coaches and getting on Twitter,
yeah. Yeah.
keys,
Yeah,
right? Talk about that.
I think way too many players rely on their coaches to get them recruited, which is fair. Like I see why. Your coach should handle majority of your recruitment, but unfortunately, as we know and understand, a lot of coaches aren't really doing anything. They're just coaching the games, and even that's mediocre. And then they just go home, and then that's it, right? So, like, if you really want to get a scholarship, especially if you're not 6'7" plus, you got to do a lot of the work yourself, and that requires, emailing coaches, getting on Twitter, Instagram, whatever, like getting your name out there as much as possible.
Yep. Name, film, info, GPA, whatever it is,
Yeah.
like making what you're doing more public, having more, and one thing that's actually kind of underrated is making sure your games are filmed. Like
Yes,
if
yes.
you're playing in a basketball game and it's not being recorded, then you are working against getting recruited. Because if you perform in a way that you
So
could be selling, you could be using to sell yourself, and it's not getting recorded, then
yeah,
of
it's a
course,
wasted game to be honest.
wasted game.
That
Absolutely.
that sort of ties into the next point that I wanted to touch on, which was playing for a good program. And a good part of being a good program is recording games and
Yeah.
reaching out to coaches, right? So, for example, with us, we film and stat every single game. And I stat the games. I might miss a thing or two, but overall, it's pretty accurate. There's a lot of programs. I mean, majority of programs, like I would say 90+% don't keep stats. And the ones that are saying like posting stats, they're just completely making it up.
Yeah.
Like we have every stat sheet up on our website. You can go watch back the game if you want and stat it out yourself, but we have
Yeah.
every stat sheet from every game posted and then a cumulative average for each player. So, I mean, that could help and hurt you at the same time, right? But there's every game is filmed, right? So what we tell our players is like, hey, like we might be playing, one day we're playing like a top 25 team and then the next day we're playing some not so good team.
Right.
But the film still lasts forever, which is what we always stress to our guys. Because a lot
So,
of times they see maybe a weaker opponent and they kind of turn it down, but all of our games are filmed, right? So even a lot of the tournaments we go to, it's on Baller TV, or a lot of times it's on Synergy too. So
yep.
forever, like whenever a college coach wants to look you up, they
Yeah.
can. And you
Yeah.
want to
And
make
then,
sure you're presenting at your best every single time you play, right?
right. And in the rare case when a college coach is diligent in their recruiting
Yeah,
process,
rare case, but
the rare
yes.
case, then they're gonna look into your full game film. And right, you have a stinker where your effort shit, your body language is shit, and it's all on film. I mean, you're hurting yourself. right?
Yep.
Like every time you're playing, when a camera is on, it's a selling point.
Showtime.
It's showtime. It's when you prove that hopefully what you're working on, what you're doing, it has value, that you are capable.
Yep.
And being capable requires some things that unfortunately aren't in your control to a certain extent with genetic components. And I mean, we talk about this a lot that knowing what you tangibly bring to the table is pretty key to knowing what level you should be looking at. And if you're 5'8" and you're barely touching the backboard, the truth is that you can grind this sport, but you're going to be limited recruiting
Hmm.
wise
Oh
if
yeah.
you don't kill on film and have connections.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. I think so many coaches are selling false promises to get guys into their program. And
Right.
it's like if we're just being perfectly honest,
Yeah.
if you are realistically under 6'7", there's a very good chance you're gonna be paying for school. Right? And somebody might listen to this and be like, what, 6'7"? Like that's so tall. It's like it's not really though. Like we're talking about scholarship level basketball, right? So
Right.
even at the lowest scholarship level, junior college, right?
Yeah.
You want to get a full junior college scholarship and you're under 6'7", you
Hmm.
got to be a dog, like absolute killer, especially if you're under 6 feet tall. Like
Yeah.
you
Good luck.
you have to be uh,
Dog.
a dog.
Yeah. And listen, like guys will get those offers under 6 feet. So don't be in the comments saying, oh, this guy got this guy got that, and they're 6'1", 6'2". Yeah, sure. They were cream of the crop players in
Yeah,
their recruiting pool,
1 in a million.
and it's not, and we're posting this, discussing this, not necessarily for the guy that is raking in multiple offers, right? Because he probably doesn't need to watch this video,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So this is for guys that aren't having those tangible advantages. You need to know that you are probably biting off more than you can chew, sending film to schools outside of your tangible range.
So that's the next thing I wanted to touch on too. Um, Being realistic with yourself is another huge component of the recruiting process as well, right? Like it does take some level of self-awareness because like if I'm a 5'8" guard that can't shoot and I'm playing in the OSBA, for example, just because we're here in Canada.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I'm completely wasting my time messaging Division Ones. Like your coach might tell you, yeah, man, like you have a chance, whatever, anything's possible, but he's just bullshitting you, right? Just to keep you around at the end of the day,
Right.
right? So like, you can ask around, ask, your friends, other players on your team, your coaches, whatever.
Yeah, runs. It
But
doesn't matter.
also
All over.
it's tough because, I think to get to a certain point as an athlete, you have to be a little bit delusional in your ability.
It's so
So there is
hard.
a very fine line between confidence and delusion.
Yeah.
Um, and I think when it comes, again, we're coming to the recruiting process, you gotta be very self-aware, right? Like, look, be honest with yourself. Like, hey, let's look at say I'm playing in the OSBA. Let's look at the league. Okay.
Mhm.
Where are most of the guys in my league going to play? Are they going Division One? Nope. Maybe a handful of them, but it gets
Right.
less and less every year as we're seeing. Now let me look at those Division One guys from my league
What are
that
they doing statistically?
what are they doing and what do they look like? Do they look
Right.
like me?
Physically.
Right? That's
Right.
important. Am I the same size? Okay, no, I'm a foot shorter. Are
So
we
are
the
my
same
stats
weight?
better?
No. Okay, are we putting up the same numbers? No.
Okay,
Right?
then
So
yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that. Again, everyone runs their own race, but you got to be realistic with yourself if you want to make this happen, right? And everyone's not going to finish at the same spot, right? Just because you
Right.
Just because I started at JUCO or NAIA, whatever, it doesn't mean I can't move up from there. Everyone's running their own race, right?
Right. And I'll add one thing, which is that if you don't have the tangibles, if you're not 6'7" and you're not athletic, then it's not about what you're capable of. It's about what you've done, right? It's about how you've actually performed
That's true.
in games that have already occurred
That's
to
true.
sell yourself because your tangibles are not selling points. So
Yeah.
you have to sell yourself based on what you do in basketball games. And you can't just say, hey, I can do this stuff. They don't care. Everyone can say that. It's what you've actually done on film.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing I always say is the taller you are, the less work you have to do,
Yes,
realistically.
very simply. Very simply.
Everybody's always looking for size. So if you're even remotely close to a guy that's 6'7", he's getting picked every single time, unless you have a super crazy connection to whatever school is in the picture, which also goes into our next point, which
Yeah.
is connections themselves, which to me, and I think you would agree as well, is the number one most important aspect of the
Number one.
recruiting process, without a
Number
doubt.
I'll say every time that I'm going to take, if I'm going to bet on two guys getting recruited, I'm going to take a significantly worse player with significantly better connections over a significantly better player with significantly worse connections.
Oh, without a doubt. Without
No
a
question.
doubt.
They
Think,
talk about if you're good enough, they'll find you.
oh, yeah, let's talk about that
Yeah,
too.
because this goes into the connections conversation, right? Because yeah, listen, there's a very nice, very I guess Disney movie feeling of if you just ball out, then someone's gonna figure out how to get you to where you belong. No,
Yes.
no, it does not work that way.
It's
Doesn't work that
it's
way.
it's one of the most played out sort of, what would I call it, quotes in the
Yeah.
basketball community. And like
Yes.
you want to believe that it's true.
Of course.
But in the real world, it couldn't be farther from the truth, to be honest. I mean, we've
So
seen
simply not the
so
case.
many guys that are more than good enough.
Right.
Um, don't make it for whatever reason. They don't look the part.
Right. And
Right?
I'll use oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I mean, we have countless examples of guys that have played for us. They've still made it to whatever college level,
Right.
but should be much higher than they are, but simply don't look the part, right? There is massive recruiting biases for sure. Um,
hmm
and
Underrated. How about being handsome? Don't sleep on it. Having a
no,
decent
no, it's
haircut,
actually true. It's actually
like,
true.
right? It's actually
Also, yeah, I
underrated.
mean, just how you present yourself
Yeah.
is a
Yeah.
big one too. Like
Being articulate, another
again and
sleeper.
again and again, all of these things.
Yeah.
This is another thing that coaches bullshit on too.
hmm
They'll talk about all these sort of like non-basketball related things, like yo, like you gotta be cheering on
GPA.
your teammates and doing all this. It's
Yeah.
complete bullshit.
Yeah.
None
They don't
of
give
that
a fuck.
shit actually matters.
Yeah.
Can you play? That's really it.
Yeah, and it'll be a D1 coach, like it'll be Mike Krzyzewski, and he'll say, I recruit off character. I go watch a game in person when they're playing
Completely.
their worst team in the season, and it's like, oh yeah, yeah, you're doing that with ESPN top 100 recruits. That
Exactly,
right? It's like
exactly.
you that doesn't mean anything to the general population,
But
and
on the same line, I would say
yeah,
that only goes so far. Like coaches will only put up with so many assholes. And
of
again, if
course,
you're gonna be the asshole, you better be
better
a,
be
a
nasty.
bucket, right?
Yeah,
Like if you're a fringe guy, then
yeah,
that's when I would say, yo, make sure you're doing everything else to a T,
right.
right? So like,
Yeah,
okay, how am I showing up to the game? Am I showing up in slides and then I forget my jersey and I got my headphones on and like we've dealt with that with our players in the past too. Like you want to present your best even at all times just to make the room for error much smaller, right? You don't want to give
Every
them any reason to write you off.
Yeah, anytime you're in the gym with college coaches, it's a job interview.
Yeah, right. So
That's all
like
it is.
be there on time,
Yeah,
take your warm up serious, have your jersey ready to go, right? It
yeah,
also gets you in the right state of mind so when the ball goes up, you're ready to play hard from the very beginning. But
right.
to what we said originally about if you're good enough, they'll find you.
Yeah.
Yeah, couldn't be further from the truth. And honestly, I'm getting so tired of hearing guys say that. It's like, dude. Do you not know how many players are in the world right now? Like it would be impossible to actually find the best players. Impossible. There's
Yeah.
just way too many countries playing basketball, and there's people that we never heard about that could be killing Division 1 right now. Right? We're
Hmm.
getting better with sort of scouting international talent, without a
Right.
doubt, but we're not even close to uncovering all our top players. Right?
Right.
Like I'll use the example of Spence. Obviously, he ended up Division 1, but he didn't get his first Division 1 until May. It was this time last year. Didn't have
Right.
anything the whole year. He wasn't good enough, right? As soon as he got one Division 1 offer,
Now he's
bang,
got
bang,
seven.
bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
Which actually let's touch on that too.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Um, that
So
that sort that ties into the topic as well.
it does. Guys just
I really don't think players and coaches too realize how much, how would I put it, how important getting that first offer is. And
yeah.
as a matter of fact, I'm gonna use John today for example. John had some D2s before, or sorry, JUCOs before this, maybe two or three JUCOs before today. They were,
Right.
lower level JUCOs. Gets a solid JUCO today, Temple College down in Texas there.
Yep.
And then within 30 minutes of that, he gets a full Division 2 scholarship. Shout out John Ridger, by the way, if you're
Legend.
watching.
Good shit.
But just
So
take that in. Like, do you think that that is coincidence? Not at all.
no. And
Yeah.
we talk about this like I guess the transgression all the time because all it is, and it's so funny, it's because it's so simple, is that coaches are scared to be the first one to say that someone is the
It's
good
so
hire.
unbelievably stupid,
And
dude.
it's so dumb. Everyone's afraid of getting fired because they'll bring a guy in and he's not really what they're supposed to be. So they gotta wait until someone else has said, "Yeah, no, they're legit," to feel confidence in their player evaluation.
Yeah,
It's so
like
funny. And it's such a chicken shit little culture.
no,
I,
it is. It is.
it's
Like we
entertaining.
could be talking about this for hours, but people don't realize how bad a lot of these, not just junior college Canadian, like this goes all the way up to Division 1.
It
A
does to
lot of
the
these
top.
guys are not actually doing their job. I call it Twitter recruiting. They're just sitting on Twitter refreshing. Oh, these guys offered Johnny. All right, let's reach out to him and see what's happening.
Yeah,
Right? Like this is how a lot of recruiting is done. Like you're telling me that Spence wasn't good enough the whole season. Then suddenly in May, he was good enough, got his first offer, and then within 3 weeks, he had like 7 or 8 Division 1s. So you're telling me February, or sorry, April wasn't good enough. Then suddenly it turned to May and just bang, floodgates open.
yeah.
Like, no.
You gotta study that 2 weeks of development because
Like, what?
holy
I gotta
shit.
go back and like, what were we doing in the gym? Because
Yeah,
I
what the
gotta
hell?
bottle that up and sell that. Jesus, that's worth a fortune. Dude turned
Oh,
around and got 7, 8 D1s in 2 weeks.
headache, headache. And the thing is too about a guy like that, is like we're talking about connections. And I mean, you guys had the plugins. It was just simply a matter of time because he was dealing with that sort of
Yep,
fringeness as well, because he was developing so much in
that is
such a
true.
small time.
That is
So
true.
he's a perfect example of a guy that, well, luckily he already had all these intangible qualities, sorry, of I mean, he's blessed with being 7 feet or whatever,
That
but
too. That
of
goes
course,
up.
but then he also, as a fringe guy, was locked in on being a good guy, being nice,
Yes, he was
whatever,
very
playing
good guy.
hard, right? Like those things were so I guess key. And
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
just saying for him, but just for guys who are dealing with that at any level, just
yeah.
trying to have that leg up, just do everything in your control. And
Hmm.
he's an example of someone who absolutely did.
And the thing about him too is that dude's 7 feet tall. So
Right.
you
And
guys, for you guys like wondering how hard it really is, that's a guy that's legit 7 feet tall
mm,
and didn't get his first Division One until May after his post grad year, right?
yeah.
Which brings me to another point. I see a lot of coaches posting on social media talking about how, hey, if you don't have any offers by like after your junior year, grade 11,
Uh-huh.
yeah, it's time to start looking at other options. And it's like, dude, like that's just so unbelievably outdated. Even now I'm seeing guys like, hey, Division One rosters are fully done and teams are practicing right now. Commit to that JUCO. It's like, dude, are there D1s that are done, don't have any scholarships? Yes, without a doubt, but there are plenty of Division Ones. I mean, we talk to them all the time that are still very much looking for players and have scholarships open. Like even
Right.
last year with Spence, we had everyone under the sun saying, "Oh yeah, he's got to commit to that JUCO. You know, you're stupid. Like he's gonna
Yeah.
lose his JUCOs, this, that,
Right.
the other. Like it's
Yeah.
too late in the season. All D1s are done." It's like, dude, you just don't understand the landscape at all. And you got to be careful listening to these guys because there's a lot of people out there that are misinformed, right?
And if you're wondering, is this person, whoever it may be, a good authority on the ins and outs of recruitment? I would say treat everyone like they aren't. Right?
Yeah,
Treat
I think
everyone
that's good
like they
advice.
are not an expert, and anything that you hear you're unsure of, go do your own research. Right? There's a lot of misinformation and disinformation, and there's a lot of people with financial incentives of certain things going certain ways in basketball recruitment. You have to
Yeah.
be careful, do your own research would be my advice.
The other thing too is like now with the transfer portal, like I mean, high school guys are getting screwed, of course, but transfer portal doesn't close till mid-April.
Right.
Right? So at least until then, unless you're a top 100 high school player or
Yeah.
like super connected to somebody or whatever,
Yeah.
you're at least waiting till mid-April. But even then, the guys are still getting signed after that. And even now, like you have to sift through thousands of names that are in the transfer portal. And again, because Division One, honestly, it's spreading to other levels too. They recruit with a hive mindset. I don't know how it starts, but somehow Division Ones have decided, you know what? Now we need transfers. It doesn't matter how good the high school guy is, we need transfers, right? And like obviously that's not across the board. Like Quinnipiac last year with Spence's 2024 class, they signed five high school guys. They tried to
Right.
go a little differently because everyone's going for transfer guys. Like Spence, who 5 years ago is normally a high major kid, can fall to a Quinnipiac, right? So like, why would we waste our time going in for somebody in the portal that scored 2 points a game? We can get a high school
Right.
guy that's ready to go.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
ended up getting injured, right?
Right.
But they had another guy, Jaden Zimmerman, who was a freshman too, who was one of their best players. He ended up scoring like, I think it was like 11, 12 points a game as a freshman. And,
There you go.
right?
There you go.
So it's even more difficult for high school guys now than ever. But the sort of narrative that recruitment is done by your end of grade 11 year or the start of grade 12 is just complete nonsense. Like all of our guys are post grads and they a lot of them have been fortunate enough to have offers since September, October. But
Right.
like John, I mean, he got a D2 scholarship today.
End of
It's
May.
it's May 30th,
Yeah, that's ridiculous. And
right?
imagine
Like,
you listen to someone who said, pull the trigger on what you've got or you're going to lose it.
Yeah, it's nonsense. Now, again, you have to be self-aware. You have to understand, okay, is it
Mm,
realistic for me to get something? Right?
right,
That's where your coaches come into play too. It has to be the right player. It's not one size fits all. Like I
right,
wouldn't tell a 5'9" kid that just got a JUCO scholarship to be like, hey man, yeah, you should wait out and wait for that D1 or D2, whatever. I'd be like, no, you
right,
should take that.
right.
And so it's
It depends. It's
totally
case by
player
case.
exactly. It's totally case by case, and no two players get recruited the same.
Of course. And last point, because I want to harp on this because I just had a comment section conversation about how not every player should be trying to be like Klay Thompson, but you should.
Yes, yes.
You should, number one. But number
Like
two, the Klay Thompson combo is about being a specialist. Because
yes,
specialists, right? Someone who excels in an element of the game, those are the guys that get,
way better than a jack of all trades.
yes, every
Nobody
single,
wants a jack of all trades.
yeah, no,
It's what it comes down to.
yeah. For any level, there is going to be a degree of capability in any skill that means you excel in that category. So, for example, if we're talking about Division One, there is a certain degree of shooting success that makes you an elite shooter in D1. And there's an elite level of finishing that makes you an elite finisher in D1. You need to have something that you are doing exceptionally, always over doing everything at the level.
Yeah, yeah, no, I would agree. I would agree without a doubt. And I think another thing is like figure out what position you actually play because the amount of dudes that I see that are right putting themselves down as combo guards is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. I forget somebody said this to me. They're like, yeah, like forget which coach it was, but he's like, yeah, if I see a combo guard, I'm just like, all right, so you're not a one and you're not a two.
Right.
And it's facts. Like, what is a combo guard? Right?
Yeah.
Like, but guys just put that because like they think it's gonna boost their recruitment for some reason. And it's like, dude, like you don't shoot it well enough to be a two, and your decision making is piss poor. You can't play the one,
Right.
right?
So, are you a
But this
playmaker?
is actually
Are you
important.
attacking closeouts? It's super important, but it's underrated as hell because guys just think if they're decently tall, but still a guard, but not shooting centric, then that
Yeah.
means you're a combo guard. And what is that? And then the thing is, too, like guys will talk about being a wing. Right? Wing meaning off-ball player, but generally guys only call themselves a wing if they're long or athletic, which is also kind of interesting. I
Yeah.
find otherwise you call yourself a shooting guard. So like wing means, I guess, perimeter player that attacks closeouts, right? And maybe play makes sometimes.
Yeah, I consider your wing your most athletic player.
Right, an athletic perimeter player
Mhm.
so like putting yourself in a category to sell yourself, absolutely.
Yeah, it's such an important part of recruiting. Like you have to be able to sell yourself, right? And like you have to be able to use proper terminology to
True.
describe your game to a coach. Like I see
Yeah,
some guys like they're just like, "Oh yeah, like I play super hard and I'm a good slasher." It's like, dude, like what is that? Everybody says that.
a good
Like, put some
slash.
stats in there. Hey,
Right.
I'm a whatever, 6'5" shooting guard. I shot 39% on catch and shoot threes, da 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 da. Obviously, not everybody has stats, but again, that ties into what we were saying at the beginning. It's important to have film and stats. This makes everything much, much easier.
Yeah. Bottom line of everything we're saying is that if you are trying to get recruited, then you are trying to package and sell yourself as an asset to a team. So that requires the diligence of making yourself clearly with evidence capable, and then also presenting yourself as capable.
Yeah, 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 for sure. And the other thing too is like, especially as a Canadian guy or
Mhm.
an international in general, like
Right.
your cost is, 2 to 3 times what it is for a in-state student.
Yep.
Right? So they're taking a big risk on you.
Yep.
So you gotta
Last
make right? You got to make sure you're doing everything in your power to
Absolutely.
separate yourself from other guys.
Right. Or because you're trying to acquire more expensive scholarships.
Yeah, yeah,
Very
exactly.
simply. And last thing that I'll harp on just on that note is that as an international guy too, you have to recognize that the more money that you have to pay for school potentially, and this isn't just international guys, this is actually everybody. The more money you have to pay for school, the more recruitable you are,
For sure, for sure.
right? Like if you are
That's
willing
slept on.
to pay a partial, then you make yourself more valuable because you don't cost a slot for
Yep,
a scholarship, right? So one other thing outside of basketball you could be doing is
yep.
working a job, making money, saving.
Yeah, it's actually a super underrated element. Because I think there is like I guess you could call it a stigma around like paying for college. It's like, oh, dude, like I'm a scholarship player, man. It's like, yeah, but if you don't have any scholarships, then
And you're not. You
right?
aren't. That's it. That's how it goes. Uh,
Like I'm a scholarship level player. Well, do you have any scholarships? No. All right. So now what do we do?
yeah. So do we just sit and hang out and talk about your scholarship?
All right. Yeah, it's coming, bro. Trust me.
It's silly. If you stayed this long, thank you for joining us. It was a pleasure. Keep tuning in. We're gonna have more good content for high school, college, pro, every level to talk hoops. And please come and get active in our comment sections on our posts. We want to talk basketball with people. We love just chatting hoops. So if you ever want to chime in or give your perspective on something or recommend something for us to talk about, always open. Let us know.
Yep. We'll be back same time next week, and thanks again.
Thanks, everybody.